The next metric I look at is liquidity. Now, when you get into syndication, you have to maintain liquidity between you and your partners to qualify for those loans. So I have a minimum liquidity I need to have. What is that liquidity? You don't want it too low, but you don't want it too high either, because then it sits around in cash. So here's my process that you can use yourself, you can learn from. So I go kind of through a comprehensive process where I review the previous year, and I do a financial review, and then I do a goal review. Those are the two primary buckets, I guess. So in the financial review, I look at all of my passive income versus my earned income, because I have both. I'm actually a W-2 employee in my own company, and I also have passive income from real estate, from the commercial buildings, and that comes in, as you know, from cash flow distributions. They come from profit from sale, or profit from a refinance sometimes, or they also come from acquisition fees as well. And so part of that, depending on what kind of income it is and what my involvement is on a particular asset, I count some of that as passive and some of it as earned income. So I would go through all the records, and I look at all the businesses, and I basically say, how much money did I make in those two categories? I then also look at the personal expenses and taxes. As you know, with real estate, you get a lot of benefits from the depreciation of the real estate. And so my taxes are relatively low because of that main benefit. And it's something you can benefit from as well. And then I look at all my personal expenses. How much did I actually pay? How much did I spend? And I do have a budget, and I make sure I stay within that budget, or at least I try to. Now, last year I went over a little bit, which I need to monitor. I haven't, frankly, watched it quite as much as I have in previous years, so I need to get back on that. It's always good to send a budget and try to stick to it. Otherwise, you're kind of flying blind. So what are your personal expenses? Then number 3 is, how much did I invest? Okay, so how much did I invest? What did I invest in? Number 4, I calculate the net worth, right? And then number 5 is how much recourse debt I have against that net worth, because recourse debt, even banks will look at and count recourse debt and deduct it, many cases, not always, from your net worth. So right now I have no recourse debt. I did a little while ago, because we did a deal that required recourse debt for a couple of years. That has now been removed. So that's kind of neat. Again, one of the things I love about apartment buildings is that you can get non-recourse debt, which is debt you don't personally guarantee. Awesome. The next metric I look at is liquidity. Now, when you get into syndication, you have to maintain liquidity between you and your partners to qualify for those loans. So I have a minimum liquidity I need to have. What is that liquidity? You don't want it too low, but you don't want it too high either, because then it sits around in cash. The second to last metric is financial freedom percentage number. In other words, what percent of your expenses are being covered by passive income? So that's a number you should monitor. If your entire income expenses are being covered by passive income, then that number is 100%. That's the goal. Once you get that goal, you want to try to get to 200%, 300%, etc. And the last financial metric that I look at is contribution. How much money did I donate? And my goal is 10% of all profits that I make across all companies, and a number of hours that I've spent. So volunteer hours, because when you can calculate your hourly rate based on the income you have, and divided by the number of hours in the year, right? So it gives you an hourly rate, which is interesting. So if you volunteer 100 hours per year, then it really adds up. So what is that contribution that you're doing? So those are the 8 metrics we look at for financial review. Next, I look at the goal review, and so there's really 7 areas that I look at. I have goals for health, goals for spiritual development or contribution, lifestyle and adventure. In my case, it typically tends to be travel. I love travel. My family loves travel. Number 4 is, what are my goals around family and relationships? Number 5, what are my goals around financial or investment or material? 6, what are my goals around environment or tribe? In other words, what do I want to do? What are my goals to change my environment, both where I'm living or the office I work in, or the people around me? What do I want to change in my environment? And then lastly, what are my business goals? So I look at all those. How did I do against those goals? And I just kind of rate them. Hey, I crushed this thing. I got half of it done. And I use that kind of to learn. either I'm underachieving some way, or maybe I didn't realize what my goal was, or maybe it was too big of a goal, or maybe it was no longer important in a year. How can I get better at setting goals and sticking to them? So this is obviously a pretty time-consuming process, but then what I do is I do the same thing for the upcoming year, which is also equally time-intensive, but I can look at what I did in the previous year to help me set goals for the next year. So especially financial goals, how did I do this year? How did that feel? Can I do more? Can I do less? And I do the same thing for the goal review. And so this is the process that I go through the last end of the year, and I suggest that you do this every single year. And then what I do is I review these goals on a quarterly basis. In other words, when I'm done with the 2023 goals for each of those areas, I then set Q1 goals. Okay, so whatever, if you want to lose weight, you want to lose whatever 20 pounds in the year, well, you might want to maybe lose 10 pounds in Q1 and then maybe just lose a small amount of weight in subsequent quarters. So what does that Q1 look like? And then this is what you print out and put on your desk. You say, here are my goals for Q1, because I know if I achieve those goals, I will make material progress towards my annual goals. So hopefully that was valuable. Now, what I did here in the year in review is obviously we have two companies, the Michael Blank Brands, which is the educational company, and then there's the Nighthawk Equity, which is the investment company. So let's do the Michael Blank Brands first. Last year, we invested heavily in people. We hired a lot of people as well as managers. I've never really had real managers before. It was always me. Like you create an org chart, right? And it was my bobblehead across all the major functions of the company. And I noticed this middle of not last year, but in 2021, where I was starting to burn out. I was working way too much and burning out, and it was time to really replace myself in many of those things. And so we brought on a lot of people. And now through the end of 2022, we really have an amazing team, which is quite a bit larger, but we can also do a lot more as well. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to reach more people. We always want to reach more people. And with that, we kind of launched our two things. One is we started to advertise a lot more, actually spending money on advertising, which we've never done before. It's always been content. It's been this podcast, YouTube channel, the book, et cetera. And people find us and go, hey, you're pretty cool. What do you got for me? And so they discover our mentoring programs or other online courses and things of that nature. But we want to reach more people. And so what we did is we created a mini course or masterclass called the Apartments 101. Apartments 101 Masterclass. And this is really the ultimate guide to getting started in apartment syndication, even if you've never heard of it before, or maybe you're even afraid of it. And it's really a great entryway, and it's free, and it's a video course. Actually, I show you stuff in it, and it's very easy to understand. And so that's really cool that we have that. We actually made some changes to the way we offer our mentoring program. The mentoring program is probably the best in the world at the effectiveness. And we felt there's always ways that we can make things better. And one of the things we decided to do was to provide people essentially with unlimited access to our team of syndication experts. And there's a variety of different experts on the team. There's experts that are really good at underwriting, right? There's really experts that are really good at finding markets and things of that nature. Then there are people that we have that will hold you accountable. We call that a deal maker guide. And it's almost like your personal concierge to guide you through the process and connect you with people. And then there's literally full-time syndicators. That's all they do. And they like to help people. So when you got a live deal, we connect you with an actual live syndicator to help you on that deal. So it's really, really cool. But we wanted to even improve the way that we did that. It was quite a bit of work to get that done, and we got that done as well. Also in 2022, we started to invest in partnerships and affiliate partnerships that others promote us. And so that's going to start happening more and more in the new year as well. We rounded out our offering by launching what we call the Dealmaker Professional Program. And so historically, we've helped people do their first deal and quit their job, and that is really what we're really known for. But what happens after that is once you've done a deal or two or three and you raise $100,000 or $500,000, you enter the Dealmaker Professional part of the journey. And we have done workshops here and there, but we never put together a program to help you scale to 1,000 units. And that's really what Dealmaker Professional is all about. There's some workshops in there that creates a written scaling plan from wherever you are right now to 1,000 units. It gives you a deep dive into our secret marketing playbook called the Platform Builder that shows you how to scale your capital raising online. And then we have now a high-end mastermind called the Syndicate. And so that is really what we have for more established syndicators. We've helped over 30 people do their first deal this year, and we recognized them at Dealmaker Live in 22. And that was an awesome event, by the way. We had Damon John there, and he's not just a cool guy in business, but he was actually a really, really good speaker. And so it was just an electrifying event to have that many people on stage. And we discovered that we don't really know who has done the first deals. Like we've impacted so many people, and we're trying to do better at making sure we identify those people and recognize them as well. And of course, on the podcast, we had some great podcast guests. Jillian Hellman was on here, Dan Briest, the snowboarder, Jerome Moldano, and countless others. And we love our favorite that achieved financial freedom with real estate syndication. So that's really been exciting as well.